This is a production of WGBH2 Boston, from the station that brings you local depth and local perspective. Now, a surprising study. Keeping schools open during snowstorms is detrimental to learning. Plus, our focus report looks at companies embracing failure. Could it be a new business trend? And taking our love of technology to a new level, what Her says about our culture. From the WGBH News studios, this is Greater Boston.
Hello, welcome to Greater Boston on TV and streaming online. I'm Emily Rooney. It's one of childhood's simple pleasures. Sound asleep on a snowy morning and mom or dad shares the news. No school. It happened in thousands of households across New England today. Every year, school districts plan for a certain number of snow days. Boston built 6 into its calendar, and including today, it's used up 2 so far. Once those allotted snow days are used up, administrators might hesitate to cancel school, but according to a new Harvard study, that's not necessarily the best idea. Joshua Goodman conducted the study titled Flaking Out. He's an assistant professor of public policy at the Kennedy School who specializes in education. Welcome to Greater Boston. So you must be popular with the kids.
I think they're going to like these results.
It's better to cancel school than to... not to cancel school, to cancel it than to...
That's exactly. It's confusing because it's not exactly the result you'd think.
So why?
So I think the theory is that when you cancel school, that's actually an easy thing from a teacher's perspective, because all that means is you push your lesson plans back a day, and maybe later in the year you have to give up something elective like a field trip, for example. What's hard on teachers is when school is open, but only half your students show up. Do you teach your lesson? Do you not teach your lesson? What happens the next day? You probably have to catch up the kids who are absent, and that takes time away from class and is very challenging for teachers and students to deal with.
So did you actually do performance results studies on this as well?
So this was... what we did in this study is compare kids' MCAS scores, their standardized test scores that the state administers. And what we did is we compared districts to themselves over time. So in years when there was lots of snow, how did a district look compared to years when that district had less snow?
So you actually called every school district in Massachusetts. We have a couple of graphs here that we're going to put up to show the results. So the average number of snow days, they vary, but usually there was about 1 to 5. 2005 looks like a big year. 2009 was a big year. And what did that tell you? That everybody pretty much standardized when they did it?
Yeah, so I mean, clearly in years when there's a lot of snow, you have more snow days. But you know, there are snowstorms that have big impacts on some districts, and districts next to them don't see that much snowfall. And so that's what we were actually using. And part of the study was actually using districts that experienced a lot of snow in a given year and next to ones that didn't experience as much snow. So, one of the main takeaways, I think, from the study is that even though there are some years when we have a lot of snow days and we lose a lot of instructional time because of those snow days, student absences are actually a much bigger deal. Students lose a lot more instructional time because they're absent from school than snow days ever cause.
I was reading that part of that. That was fascinating. So, as kids get older, more girls start taking days off. But what is that all about? Is it just delinquency? Is it like I don't feel like going to school? What is that?
This is a great question. So, unfortunately, the data doesn't tell us very much about this. So we think some of it is kids getting sick, some of it is kids just cutting class or not wanting to go to school. But what's clear is that the average number of snow days that a kid in Massachusetts experiences in a given year is actually only about 2. So some years we have a lot, some years we have very few. The average number of days a kid is absent from school in Massachusetts is about 8.
That's a lot.
So absences are a much bigger deal than snow days.
But I mean, I can understand why superintendents are reluctant, though. They'd rather have the kids in school. The parents hate it.
Yep.
Especially if you said you've got 3 kids. How would you feel about that if they were all in school? And
no question.
No place to do with them.
This morning,
and then there's all these union issues. If there's too many snow days, then the teachers have a right to say, "Hey, I'm working overtime now." And
that's right. No, I should say my study was only about what happens to MCAS scores. Yeah. I am completely sympathetic to parents who say MCAS scores are not the only thing I care about in life. My kid needs to be somewhere, and I need to go to work.
Well, it's fascinating. Counterintuitive, Josh Goodman. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, despite the dire warnings, this winter storm didn't pack much of a punch in Boston. Still, Southie residents went to great lengths to stake their claim on precious parking spots. Coming up, we'll show you some of the more creative space savers I found this morning.